Less than 6 months after his humiliating defeat in California, Nixon appeared on the Jack Paar Show, playing a tune he had written himself. Although no one in the audience could have known it, this was the beginning of one of the most remarkable comebacks in American political history.
Can Kennedy be defeated in '64?
Well, which one? Just to be very serious, I know, of course, you're referring to President Kennedy, and I, under no circumstances, would speak disrespectfully even of him or of his office.
Aren't you kind of friends? Weren't you kind of friends at one time?
Oh, certainly. We came to the Congress together.
I know you
and
were.
We were low men on the totem pole in the Labor Committee together. And we remained low men until he ran for president. Now he's up and I'm down.
My little daughter said today that, you know, she says, Miss Nixon, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, she says, I do hope that man finds work.
Nixon found work as a Wall Street lawyer, determined to succeed at what he called the fast track. Pat Nixon had never been happy with the constant demands of politics and welcomed the prospect of a more normal existence. "I hope we never move again," she told him when they settled in New York. But politics had been Nixon's whole life, all he had ever known. He soon told friends he would die of boredom if he stayed in private life.
Here is a bulletin from CBS News. In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas.
To some, it seemed that Kennedy's assassination might open the way for Nixon in the next election.
The motorcade sped on.
But sensing the mood of the country, Nixon concluded that Lyndon Johnson, the new president, would be unbeatable in 1964.
Are you writing yourself off at this point as a political candidate, or as a presidential candidate at any time?
Well, I made it clear that I am not a candidate for public office. I shall not become a candidate in this year, 1964, and I certainly have no plans to become a candidate in the future. I also want to make it clear at the same time, however, I'm not writing myself off as a political leader in the United States.
As Nixon expected, President Johnson overwhelmed Republican Barry Goldwater in 1964, and the party lost disastrously in Congress. But in the ruins of that defeat, Nixon saw his way back to power. He worked the Republican congressional circuit tirelessly, traveled to 35 states, barnstormed for 105 candidates. And when the party made a dramatic comeback in 1966, there was hardly a Republican who didn't owe Nixon a favor.
He was uncomfortable with all of the obligatory activities of politics. Those were the dues one paid in order to gain admission to the arena. And he paid them. He flinched on occasion, but he paid them. He learned to do what he had to do.
Hey, how you doing, boys? Good to see you. Good to see you. Get this boy in now. We're going to. No, this is your old district. You get him in now. We're going to get him in.
Nixon promised his family a moratorium on politics in 1967, but immediately took off on a grueling tour of 4 continents. Traveling as a private citizen, the former vice president could still command a crowd in the most remote reaches of the globe. His trips kept him in the news and strengthened his grasp of foreign policy. Once again, Richard Nixon was aiming for the presidency.
He had this absolutely core fire that he wanted to be president of the United States. I think for several reasons, probably to prove a lot of things to himself, but also because he sincerely wanted to take the country in a direction that he felt was the right direction.
Okay.
As Nixon officially announced his candidacy in February 1968, the events of that tumultuous year moved him closer to the office he had sought for so long.